been fascinating to see how the church, how the missionaries, how the cultivated fan base, how kids are growing up not knowing anything other than Real Salt Lake, how much kind of the culture intersected with the church, but at the same time, how the dynamic was constantly changing. Everything is in constant movement in this city.
The culture of Utah obviously is steeped in the history of the LDS Church, but as the community becomes increasingly diverse from the standpoint of even just thinking LDS versus non-LDS, it's a great thing. It's a great thing for this community. And Real is sort of the melting pot of that diversity in our community.
See, all they tell me, you're from Utah, you're Mormon. Yeah, I joke around a lot. So yeah, all they say is, you're Mormon, you're coming from Utah.
No matter what your background religiously, ethnically, gender-wise, I think everybody in the state realizes that it's a very special place to live.
When you think of places of religious significance, you often think of Vatican City, Jerusalem, Mecca. But we have one here in the United States too, Salt Lake City, home of the LDS Church and the Mormon community. A religion that, frankly, a lot of people don't know a lot about, myself included. And we also have a club here that a lot of people don't talk about enough, Real Salt Lake. And I'm coming to check out a little bit of how this unique culture, this unique community, connects to a club to make this a dynamic unlike any other place in soccer.
We host all of the worldwide dignitaries like you, superstars of athletics and
Hey, you are in politics. You got me feeling like somebody special right now.
You are somebody special, man. So many young kids want to be professional athletes, and that's a great thing. Soccer has become bigger and bigger and bigger in the state of Utah, like it has nationally. MLS, more than anything, made it accessible. A local team that you could root for, that you could dream about playing for, that you could identify with, that you could feel proud of. Because Utah really is an international state, whether people realize it or not. My dad is from the Philippines. He's half Spanish, half Filipino. My mom is from the big island of Hawaii, so she's half Japanese, half native Hawaiian. My dad was Catholic my whole life growing up. My mom was Mormon. I became committed to that path, went on a mission, and they sent me to this far off, like all of my cousins who were going to Japan and overseas in South America, and I opened my call, you get a letter, and it said, Chicago, Illinois, you're going to Chicago. And I was like, what? Like, did they make a mistake? Seriously, do they know how diverse I am? They could send me anywhere. What's in Chicago? Of course, you know, incredible city. You were part of the Chicago Fire team that helped RSL get into the championship.
I don't know if I helped. I think Nick Raimondo helped.
From 19 to 21, I was out there, and you learn a lot. It's kind of like I would imagine, going out to some international camp in the pro ranks. You're on your own, learning a new culture a lot, and so that was my introduction, kind of to the LDS Church. One of the things that people don't realize, as you're saying, you're getting to know the city better, is that we have such an international influence because so many of the young men and women from Utah end up getting sent out across the world. They fall in love with the countries and the language and the cultures of those people that they're living with for a couple of years, and they come back and bring that love here. As the Olympics came to Utah, and as products like Real Salt Lake come to Utah and diversify and internationalize the state, I think people realize that the things that have historically made Utah strong, we can continue to support those, and I think that's why they've gravitated towards this product.
Calen?
So nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Zions Bank was founded in 1873, and it was founded by Brigham Young, who was one of the first presidents of the LDS Church. Zions Bank Corporation, our holding company now today, is a publicly traded company, and so we're not owned by the church, but we're still obviously connected. We've been a partner with Real since the day they came to Salt Lake. So when they came and said, hey, we want to bring an MLS team to Salt Lake City, I thought, oh, that'll be interesting. We've had the Jazz for a number of years, and I think the city takes a great deal of pride in having a major sports team and now having a Major League Soccer team. That MLS Cup was the first major sports championship that this community has ever seen. Some of the normal misconceptions that you hear that you're going to come out here and you're going to see that everyone, all of us have multiple wives. Obviously, that is not the case. I hope you've seen that around town. That
Yeah, I've yet to see that. Yeah, that would be striking.
there's nowhere else in the world, in my opinion, you'd rather be, because we're sitting here in my office in downtown Salt Lake City. In 25 minutes, we could all be up skiing in some of the best snow in the world, and then go catch Real tomorrow night. To show me anywhere else in the world you can do that.
Man, sounds kind of fun. I might be tired though. Well, weather has changed here. Park City. I didn't bring a jacket for this. Yo. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Thanks for, this is the spot, huh?
Yeah.
Got it.
Park City.
Sebastian Salcedo is a Utah kid who started at the RSL Academy and became the first local player through the system all the way to the first team. Making waves with the U20s, Sebastian represents a future that RSL is pushing for, investing $50 million in a training facility and academy in Harriman.
How did you get into soccer? Because this is like a ski town.
Yeah.
Most kids around here are probably skiing all day.
Well, I remember my dad back in the day, like he would always go play soccer and he would always take me.
How do you train in this? Do you grow up playing in this?
No, well, I would actually play a ton of futsal.
Okay.
And that actually probably made me a better player as well. A lot of people come from out of state, oh, it's a Mormon state, there's nothing to do and stuff like that. But Utah is a really nice place, and I've gone to Europe, I've gone to a lot of places out of the state, and I still can't find a way to leave Park City, Utah. So I remember going to the RSL games. I remember I was a little kid, and
See, that's the crazy part. I forget how young you are, man. So
Yeah.
You did grow up with RSL your whole life, pretty much.
Well, the thing was that I actually held Freddie Adu's hand when I was little.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah,
walking
at
out
the Cycle Stadium, yeah.
No
I remember
way.
being a ball boy as well. And being able to make my professional debut in front of my family and friends, and I couldn't ask for anything better, and I can't describe it. It's awesome. Actually, my mom, at the point now, still does my laundry. So
You can admit it, man.
yeah, so I think when I got to the academy, it's just everything. You have to do it yourself,
You went away to the RSL Academy in Phoenix, or where is it?
It was in Casa Grande, which was in the middle of nowhere. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that like going down there?
It was sad. Like I was 15, leaving my family. It was. There was moments where I would cry, and I would miss my family and stuff like that. I don't think a lot of kids would like to leave home at the age of 14 or 13. And now that they're opening up the academy, I think it's huge, and it's good to have the kids in the same facility as the first team, just for them to see how hard they work and to pursue the dream and kind of be a motivation towards the young kids as well. I was always trying to get Kyle's autograph when I was little, The sport is growing, and I think there's some kids out here in Park City that can do the same, so all the teams have to be on the lookout for Park City as well. I would love to be a legend here in RSL just because I grew up here and maybe end my career here at RSL someday.
So where are you taking me, man?
All right, so this is a place called Park Cafe, owned by our buddy Sean. It's kind of the go-to spot for all of RSL, Utah football, Utah basketball.
Yeah, I see all
This
swag.
is when you come here for breakfast. All the guys will come.
So this is home now.
Yeah, January of 05, so 12 years now.
What was it like for you when you first got here? What were your first impressions?
I was a little bit different because my grandparents were convert Mormon. So I remember growing up and always hearing about these stories of the Salt Lake City Temple. And, I always kind of joked around, Utah was like Disneyland for white people. It was like the most Caucasian place I've ever seen. I'd lived in Boston, lived in Miami, lived in Texas, lived in Columbus, from LA. And then I got here and I was like, wow, this is really Caucasian. And,
It's that when white people are going around being like, man, there's a lot of white people here. Your history with the LDS Church or familiar history, did they know that before they brought you into the club?
To my knowledge, there hasn't been a single player that's been Mormon that has been on the team. But obviously with BYU and the temple downtown, it's the religion's a massive, massive talking point here.
There was a very strategic choice as far as picking red and blue.
Yeah. BYU is the Cobalt, and the Claret's going to be kind of their version of Utah. The idea was All right, here's the two main colors, and it ties in the Mormon culture and it ties in the non-Mormon culture.
That first goal at home for Real Salt Lake, how often does that get brought up for you?
I'm living off it. I've been living hard off that and the Olympic team for a long time. I think in the big picture it doesn't matter at all, but for a very close corner part of this fan base that remembers back then what it was like, and having professional soccer, in all due respect to the freeze and the blitz that were the lower levels before RSL got here, you know, it was a big day. It was a big day in the history of the sport for Salt Lake City and Utah.
Did you plan that goal celebration, planting the flag?
Yeah. I was a defender. Of course I had at least one celebration ready. Yeah, the planting the flag, kind of we were here, it just kind of, in my mind, it kind of matched kind of this is the place. And, you know, when the first settlers got here in the Utah area. Having a little bit of kind of that Mormon background with my grandparents, I'd always heard the story about how the Mormon settlers got here. And there's a specific, this is the place. And so in my mind, I imagined, all right, cool, RSL's here. This is our place. And super cheesy now I think back about it. But in the moment, you know, 35,000, 36,000 fans, I was all about it. I was excited.
Those first few seasons were rough. I remember I played in a couple of those games at Rice Eccles, and the turf was brutal. Altitude was tough for visiting teams. It didn't always feel like
there's a future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then once you got into Rio Tinto Stadium, this is the utopia with the church and the missionary dynamic, and kids that grow up just being football or basketball or baseball fans all of a sudden are going to countries and spending 2 years in Spain or in Brazil or Argentina, and all of a sudden coming back saying, soccer, I get it, I understand, this is what it is. And then tying it directly into Real Salt Lake while having children, and you know, sometimes immediately are coming back from their mission. These are young kids getting massive cultural experiences outside of their comfort zone.
To have sports without like beer culture or drinking at sporting events, and like the Mormon people don't even drink coffee, which for me would be quite the challenge.
The fabric's changing. You know, even like the liquor license laws and how that's all changed. And, you know, if you go to a bar, you had to be a member in 2005. And if you wanted to get like a double, you had to get a side cart, and they'd put the shot in the side cart and you'd have to pour it. And so that's no longer the case. So the evolution of church and state, government, reality, everything kind of loosening, but still somewhat staying the same. It's been a very fascinating thing to watch up close. Now, what's the effect on the fan base? It's really interesting, because then you have this huge culture, but then you have this kind of huge pushback where people are not Mormon, and they're very adamant that they're not Mormon. And then you have kind of the 801 punks area where, all right, we're not Mormon and we're not church, but this is who we are and this is who we want to be, and no one's going to put us into a box.
I'm Salt Lake till I die. I know I am, I'm sure I am. I'm Salt Lake till I die.
Well, I found the party. Is this color like an everyday thing, or this is a game day
I have a real
experience?
job.
Okay.
This is game day only. I actually got moved because I was too rowdy.
Really?
I used to sit on this side, and they called me and said, we actually want you to move.
Ooh, there's a Beckerman brew? How do you get your own beer? You gotta like win MLS Cup. Yeah. Can I get a touch? Can I get a touch? All right, nice. When you think of Utah, beer is not what people think about.
Oh, I know. It's not if you drink or not. It's what you're here for, is to cheer for the team. You don't have to come and tailgate and drink with us, but you have to be there and cheer loud, and that's what the purpose is.
You're like fake Salt Lake. It's like, cool, that's the best you got. It's like we already dominate everything. You're like gonna troll on us.
Yeah, seems defiant too in a way, where it's like it fits within the culture of soccer banter.
Yeah. Each team has its own regional character on the basis of kind of where they're from. And, you know, I mean, it takes that identity.
And this is Utah.
Absolutely. We have a different church. It's okay.
Yeah.
Rio Tinto. Before coming here, I was a little bit nervous that I might not be able to get a real sense of the people, the culture, the community of Salt Lake City, and that people might be a little closed off. Sometimes things can be touchy, especially when you talk about religion. But what I found was quite the opposite. I found a group of people that were willing to share of themselves, to teach me about their culture and to welcome me to their community. And what I found was also a group of people that come together to support a club that transcends religion, a club that makes everybody feel welcome, and that's a family of its own. There's a line in Mormon scripture that says, "The wicked take the truth to be hard." And other fan groups say they call this fake Salt Lake. But when you see people from all walks of life coming together on game day here, what could be more real? What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Are you going to be on TV?
Yeah. You guys going into the game?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Do you like Real Salt Lake?
I love it, man. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta represent. Who's your favorite player?